You found our show, so come on in and take a seat. Warrior class, we got the keys. Dun, 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 dun. To get you where you need to be, just study our show, and you're gonna grow like crazy. Watching you will see. Dun, 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 dun. Warrior class, we got the keys, just watch our show, 'cause it's for you and your babies.
Welcome to Warrior Class.
Where the teachers whoop ass.
And you will too if you pass.
Yes. The closest one. Greetings, family.
All right. Greetings.
And greetings to you, Baba.
And greetings to you.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy. It's my
Right,
notifications. Warrior class is starting.
Yeah, we got Eugene Mason, Ket Kabas, Ankh, and some lurkers, several lurkers out there. So
Greetings. How you doing today, Brother Eugene? I trust you are well.
greetings, Eugene. Greetings. Ket Kabas.
Was that Ket here last week, or was that a different?
Yeah, Ket was here last week, I believe.
Okay, cool. That's what's up.
Yeah, I believe that you the week before that too.
Okay, beautiful. I'm doing great, Eugene. Doing very well. Very busy right now.
All right, this is the Black Imagery in Books, TV, and Film episode. But first, we're going to get to some news, if we got any.
Well, it's cold. That's news in Atlanta. I'm sure we have people all over the place. I heard it's like we're expecting snow or something in New York if it hasn't already snowed. But right now it's cold here, so just a reminder to make sure that we're prepared for situations like this.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And in Atlanta, it's got such strange weather. It could be cold today and hot tomorrow.
Right.
But make sure you got your layers. Make sure you're layering your clothes.
Right. I thought about that too. People always say when they're from up north, they're like, "Oh, my blood is whatever or something else," and that's why they can withstand cold temperatures. And I just think it's your habits. Like you're used to putting on clothes when it's cold outside.
First of all, I'm from Chicago, which is there's no colder place except Alaska. And
you're saying in the States,
right in the United States, yes. When I moved here to Atlanta, it was warm, but I moved here in March and it was 85 degrees. But I wasn't gonna be no fool,
right?
And talk about my blood sticker and all.
I mean, you hear it all the time.
So I wasn't gonna say that kind of jive, that's all regional foolishness, really.
I mean, I think when you first move, maybe you might be more used to it, but especially people who've been here for years, like
but when I first moved here, that first winter, I mean, it was like the fall in Chicago,
right?
But I still wore a coat.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, damn that, that regional foolishness. I told you, and I've said on this show before, I was riding on a bus, and there was a brother on the bus from Chicago, and he's like, "Why y'all folks in Georgia so into grits? You might hear about another grit, I'm gonna slap somebody." And he was, going off on the grits, and he was like, "No, I don't dig no grits. We don't just eat grits like that up in Chicago. Is somebody from Chicago and he can bear me witness?" And I looked up and looked back into my book, kept reading my book, like, he's about to catch it. Okay. And sure enough, somebody said, "Man, you say one more thing about grits, I'm gonna whoop your ass." And he said, "You gonna beat my ass over some grits?" I was like, "Brother, you gonna get smashed."
Right.
And then other people started chiming in. "Motherfuckers, talk about grits again. And it really wasn't about grits.
It was about the superiority complex.
Right.
Yeah.
I said, man, I'm not getting involved in that at all. He said, "Come, is somebody from Chicago on this bus? Somebody else from Chicago?" I just read my book. I was like, "You're about to get your ass tapped over some grits." My wife, now, at one point, we were eating grits every day. I never was like, "That's too much. I don't want to eat no more grits." Now, when we went to Chicago, about the second time we went to Chicago, we went in the restaurant, and she was like, "I want some sweet tea and some grits." I was like, "Dear, they don't have sweet tea and grits up here. You're not going to find that up here. You may find sweet tea in a chain restaurant or something, but you're not going to just find sweet tea in the restaurants in Chicago." Right. Really? I was like, "Yeah, really. It's not popping like that. Right. It's popping like that in the South."
You got to make your own, or just don't drink it.
Yeah, or people. The closest most people get to sweet tea up in Chicago is Brisk. Buying a can of Brisk. That's it. You ain't getting no real sweet tea.
That's funny.
Let me see. That commercial just aired a couple of weeks ago, and you have to wait before they give us the real message of saying they are going to continue to barbecue us. I don't know what commercial that is.
The comment above that Oscar Mayer commercial speaking about barbecue black people
right now. Yeah, I got to see that.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that one. Maybe
I'm sure they had to word that intelligently.
I'm sure.
Then you say, "We're gonna barbecue them niggas."
Right. Unfortunately, our current events specialist is still indisposed, so
right.
No sundown tea. All about it.
No sundown tea.
Is it sundown tea? I thought it was just sun tea.
It's sun tea, yes.
Oh, okay. Like that, you combine in two different things.
Sundown chow and tea.
And that does not sound pleasant at all. I do not want none of that tea. No, thank you. Oh, yeah.
Boy. So yeah, sweet tea is a thing down here.
Mm-hmm.
Not really sun tea. Now, sun tea, when I lived in Phoenix, Arizona, sun tea was big.
Yeah, because it's so hot, so much sun.
Right.
I'm sure, yeah.
Right, and that tea tastes good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can do it here at certain times. Oh my goodness.
Hey.
Hello, Kiki.
Hey.
Hey, Mama. Looking beautiful today.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
It's
Go,
good to
go, go,
see you.
go out to mom. Go to mom.
Mhm.
Yes. Yellow gone.
Oh, here she goes.
Yeah. Yellow gone.
The climb.
Yellow gone. Uh-uh. Cut it down.
Oh my goodness. To be small enough to hide behind a pillow.
Well, she understands concealment.
Right.
She
That's
don't
good.
understand.
That's another great warrior tip to advise people with their children. Is that, and that's something I used to do with my son when he was smaller. I would teach him how to hide, just in case, like the things you need to be thinking about and all of that when you're hiding. So,
Right. Well, I thought it was sundown. No, it's sun tea, but that's it's done rarely here, but it's done really in like Phoenix and places like Phoenix, Texas, places that are extremely hot.
right, all the time.
All right, so we're gonna get into it. Black imagery in books, TV, and film. So, in response to the hostile and inaccurate portrayals of black people in the media, W.B. Du Bois and Paul Robeson argued that all art is propaganda and their art would always be political. They advocated an uplift program to improve the image of black people in society. Authors and playwrights who prescribed to this program presented fine and upstanding black people who conform to the social mores of the day.
In response, the Harlem Renaissance was born. Authors of the Harlem Renaissance rejected the restrictive standards of the racial uplift program. Rather than responding to the hostile climate by simply presenting positive representations of Black people, writers of the Harlem Renaissance attempted to expose the racist oppression in American society. Alain Locke, who believed Black people lived in a world with political realities and needed to respond with deliberate politics in their work, wrote, excuse me, is it Allen? It must be Allen.
Allen, yeah.
Allen. Allen wrote in his foreword to the literary collection, The New Negro, we turn therefore the other direction to the elements of truest social portraiture. We shall let the Negro speak for himself.
Author Wallace Thurman rejected both the politics of the racial uplift and of the Harlem Renaissance New Negro. Wallace believed black writers should be able to portray black people in whatever manner they best express the story. He organized a group of authors, including Zora Neale Hurston, who rejected the racial uplift efforts to present black people in a way that would accommodate the cultural standards of the white majority. Hurston also asserted her work as distinct from the work of fellow Harlem Renaissance writers, whom she described as the sobbing school of Negrohood, that portrayed the lives of black people as constantly miserable, downtrodden, and deprived, to create their own magazine, Fire, that would publish stories about the black experience without any filters or censors. Fire sold very poorly, however, and was condemned by W.E.B. Du Bois and Paul Robeson as maligning the image of the black community. So, as black creators, should our fiction, film, and television shows always show black people in a positive light? Should our work seek to expose and deal with racism, sexism, oppression, colonization, and cultural appropriation? Should we portray black people in any way we see fit, positive or negative?
From posters that advertised slaves for sale in the 1500s to the lumping of Zane's erotica with Charles Saunders' Sword and Soul on the same shelf in the bookstore today, there has been an unrelenting powerfully persuasive, and seemingly purposeful effort to promote Black inferiority in the media. For every positive image of Black people, there are 100 negative stereotypes. Sadly, many of them perpetuated and perpetrated, excuse me. Sadly, many of them perpetrated and perpetuated by Black people. Images and words combined are very powerful and have been used quite effectively to convey this whole idea of Black people being less than, not as good as, the myth of Black inferiority.
We have become so insensitive or desensitized to our own negative typecasting and even dehumanization that we are no longer conscious of what we see, hear, and what is going into our minds. We have become a party to our own brainwashing. We have joined in and become our own victimizers. In the old days, white comedians put on black cork and made a living humiliating and ridiculing Black people. A few years later, their senses dulled by this illusion called progress, Black comedians said to the white comedians, "Hey, you don't have to ridicule and humiliate us. We'll do it. We'll take it from here, boss." And they took it from there, and still carried it straight to hell.
Let's take the use of the word nigger, for example. Black comedians took this wicked, destructive word and took ownership of it, as if to call ourselves a nigger was empowering, as if it was a term of endearment, and still vehemently defend its use to this very day. And no, saying the N word is no better. It is foolish, it is just foolish and strangely makes us even less human than the use of the word nigger does. Take Kanye West and Jay-Z's Niggas in Paris. Now the now the politically correct N-word in Paris. What's Gucci, my N-word? What's Louis, my killer? What's drugs? Why didn't you do this part? Oh my God. What's drugs, my dealer? What's that jacket? Mark Gilla. I'm not familiar with you. I'm sorry. Doctors say I'm the illest because I'm suffering from realness. Got my N-words in Paris and they going gorillas, hey? Yeah, that shit crazy and nothing's correct about it, politically or otherwise.
The historian Carter G. Woodson said that Black people have been conditioned to go around to the back door, and if there's no back door, we will insist on one. If you can get a Black comedian to show up on a late night talk show and act the clown, it's comforting to those people who say, see, they are happy people. They aren't angry with us for 500 years of slavery and oppression. It is like approaching a dog you have abused, neglected, and chained up in your kitchen for a week, thinking, boy, I sure hope it doesn't bite. And if instead of tearing out your throat, the dog starts wagging its tail, you breathe a sigh of relief and say, whew, good dog. We have been conditioned to expect little of ourselves and of each other. Many Black authors and filmmakers I know lament that they create great content, but Black people pass by their stuff and go straight for Invincible or to Marvel Comics, Marvel TV, or the MCU. Don't lament, Black creators. Creators, not creatives. But that's a topic for another show. Remember, we have been conditioned to expect little of ourselves and of each other. So most Black people will assume, without any evidence, that your work is whack. You have to reach out and educate them. Show them that your work is just as good as or better than what they are used to. Most will still flock to Marvel. They love and have faith in good old Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and the boys. To chastise them for that will gain you enemies, not friends, and certainly not fans. Mm-hmm. Now, outside the Black geek community, is where I have found my greatest support. There's a hunger among regular black people, those who do not identify as geeks, nerds, or science fiction fans, for speculative fiction written by and about black people. At the Westview Festival a few years ago, a neighborhood festival in the predominantly black lower to middle class area near Atlanta's West End, I sold out all of my books in less than a half hour. Mind you, my table was next to a table that sold at less than half price mainstream fiction and science fiction and fantasy by authors such as Isaac Asimov, J.R.R. Tolkien, Frank Herbert, and George R.R. Martin. At the third annual Ujamaa Fest, a festival celebrating Kwanzaa's principle of collective economics, author Milton Davis and I shared a table. Once again, black speculative fiction sold like hotcakes. At this festival, the participants were mainly culturally conscious black people from all walks of life. At both festivals, most of the people who purchased books said that if black authors were writing science fiction and fantasy with black heroes when they were young, they would have been into it. But they were eager to get their children and grandchildren to black speculative fiction.
While many of us want to see ourselves as the heroes and sheroes and recognize the need for black speculative fiction and film, many of us cannot fathom ourselves as star-spanning, evil-crushing, saving the world heroes. The media is directly responsible for this. The perpetuation of stereotypes is always done through print, television, film, radio, music, and the internet. Flip the channel or turn the page, and there are the baby mamas and baby daddies so ubiquitous in common American culture that they become plot points or titles for mainstream comedies and movies. The syndicated television program Maury, hosted by Maury Povich, is known for its Who's Your Daddy segments. Much of the content is based on issuing paternity tests to teens and young adults in hopes of determining fatherhood.
Many of Maury's guests are black, and the sheer number of these cases is damning. Shows like these, along with court television shows that promote the same dysfunction, are very popular. Even black millionaire housewives, doctors, and business moguls are portrayed as argumentative, catty, incapable of being unified, and downright ignorant.
And violent.
And violent, yes. Millions of viewers are indoctrinated by these images of black family chaos. And we watch these programs like a gory highway car wreck because they involve so many people who look like us. And we accept and share these perceptions without question, qualm, or quarrel.
Yeah, well. At a very young age, black men and women are inundated with messages that they cannot trust or depend upon one another. Children see images of and hear comments and jokes about lazy, greedy, irresponsible, and otherwise flawed black adults. Black characters have appeared in American films since the beginning of the industry in 1888, but black actors were not even hired to portray black people in early works. Instead, white actors and actresses were hired to portray the characters while in blackface. In addition, black people have for nearly 100 years been purposely portrayed in films with negative stereotypes that reinforce white supremacy over us. Since motion pictures have had more of an impact on the public mind than any other entertainment medium in the last 90 years, this has had a tremendous effect on society's view of black people. The media sets the tone for the morals, values, and images of our culture. Many people in this country believe that the degrading stereotypes of black people are based on reality and not fiction. Everything they believe about us is determined by what they see on television and in movies. After over a century of movie making, these horrible stereotypes continue to plague us today. And until negative images of Black people are extinguished from the media, we will be regarded as second class citizens and will guard ourselves as such and will regard ourselves as such. Excuse me. We have not come that far since 1914, when Sam Lucas was the first Black actor to have a lead role in a movie for his performance in Uncle Tom's Cabin.
I am asked quite often if there is such a thing as a Black science fiction movie. Supposing by Black science fiction movie they mean a science fiction or fantasy movie that features a Black protagonist and majority Black cast and deals with issues that strongly impact Black people. I tell them that Black science fiction movies began in 1939 with the release of Son of Ngangi, and that filmmakers continue to make quality Black science fiction and fantasy movies today. Take Sinners, for example. The Sinners plot is about twin brothers who return to the 1930s Mississippi to open a juke joint, only to find their plans interrupted by a vampire attack. The film, directed by Ryan Coogler, blends historical drama with horror and supernatural fantasy to explore themes of race, culture, and community. While the brothers and others at their party are threatened by the supernatural, they must also contend with the racial violence of the time. We learn a great deal about human nature by comparing ourselves to others and by comparing ourselves to fictional heroes and villains. Contemplating fictional characters helps us examine the nature of heroism and villainy. Through fiction, film, and television, we develop our view of the ideal person. We learn what to expect from good guys and bad guys, even in real life.
What distinguishes a superhero from a supervillain? How do their basic personalities differ? And how has the media affected our perception of ourselves and heroism? Most people see themselves as being close in personality to their favorite superheroes and mimic their heroes' characteristics in an effort to live up to that perception. However, if the fiction you read or see consistently portrays those who look like you as less than heroic, as savage, whatever shade or not, as savage, whether noble or not, is the eternal sidekick, as the first to die, as the one to sacrifice him or herself so that the real heroes can save the world, as the thug, the pimp, the whore. And how do you see yourself? Then how do you see yourself?
In Blueprint for Negro Literature, Richard Wright discussed the problem of Black literature. They, Black authors, enter the court of American public opinion dressed in the knee pants of servility, cursing to show that the Negro was not inferior, that he was human, and that he had a life comparable to that of other people. These were received as poodle dogs who have learned clever tricks. In short, Negro writing on the whole has been the voice of the educated Negro pleading with white America. Wright went on to say that every story Black people write should carry within its lines, implied or implicit, a sense of the oppression of the Negro people, the danger of war, of fascism, of the threatened destruction of culture and civilization, and two, the faith and necessity to build a new world. What we have come to understand is that Black speculative fiction should tell all stories, because they have gone untold in speculative fiction for so damn long. And those stories should feature Black heroes and an occasional Black villain too. Yes.
You're muted. You said what we have come to understand is Black speculative fiction should tell all stories.
Yes, what we have come to understand what we have come to stand is that Black speculative fiction should tell all stories. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can the The audience hear me?
That I still don't hear anything. Oh, you heard Brittany? You can hear him?
Yeah.
Can you hear me too?
I can hear Ominiki too. So I don't know what's going on. What we have come to understand is that black speculative
Oh, they
fiction.
can hear you, Baba,
Okay.
but
What we have come
I
to
can't hear you for some reason. That's so strange.
what we have come to understand is that black speculative fiction should tell all our stories
Oh,
because they have gone untold in speculative fiction
okay.
for so damn long. And those stories should feature black
This is
heroes.
interesting.
And those stories should feature black heroes and an occasional black villain too. A criminal mastermind, that is, as well as a street thug, because we grew up knowing both types and neither were walking stereotypes. So that's the end. So Kat Kaba says she can hear us both.
Baba, I'm gonna go out and try, and you try to let me back in, and we'll see.
Okay. And I can hear us both too, but she can't hear me for some reason. I don't know what was going on with that. I don't know what was happening. Yeah, and for people who don't know, um,
Okay.
can you hear me now?
You know what? I've done something.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
And for people who don't know, I am the author of I think 42 books or 44 books, something like that now,
It's a lot.
And several screenplays. We wrapped recently on a screenplay that I wrote, and my student Kunle, he's editing it now, so it should be done by like the middle of this month, and then we're gonna get right into another one. So this has been something that I have studied for a long time, our imagery and what that imagery means, what it doesn't mean, what it does, what it doesn't do. Let me see. Aket Kaba said we must do better and get rid of excuses. Yeah, we definitely should do that. Now, Eugene Mason said this is his technology. Yes, it is his technology. And unfortunately, we must use his technology to communicate with each other in several ways, through film, books, television, and just through talking to each other. They've opened up where we can talk to the world through his technology. I often tell people too that when I was in the Army, we had intranet. The web started in the military. We had that. We were talking to each other through the not internet, intranet. So we've long been relying on his technology, but now it's even more so. I was meaning that why we're having technical issues, and that too. That also is why we're having technical issues.
I mean, it may be why we were having technical issues the last couple of weeks, but the problem this time was that I had muted the yeah. So that was me.
Now, I remember a few years ago, I believe it was our first show or second show, and we were talking, and it was just echoing all the voices. That shit was crazy.
Yeah, it was.
And that was them.
Right. Yeah.
That was them. That was wild. And we had to just shut the show down, and That was crazy.
Yeah, some people may remember.
Yeah, and I've learned to be clever in the way I say certain things
Yeah, well,
because
yeah,
they will shut you down. If you don't believe that YouTube is watching your shows for all of my fellow podcasters, just say something against a certain person or against
certain
or
groups.
a certain group or put up a video that they don't want you to put up, and they will shut your show down in the middle of your show
Yeah, well,
because they're always watching. Eugene may say, even so, sister, I'm blaming them.
it's their fault, Eugene. They're working me, making me tired, making me forget things. I agree. Oh my goodness.
Y'all have any questions?
Baba, I actually have I can't remember. I when I started to read over the notes this week, I had planned to do some additional research because I remember that there was a period of time in China where I know they were having a very low period. Something it was something about I can't remember exactly what happened, but I know that one of the things that they did was every kind of literature and art, visual art or whatever that they had to be saying something positive about the people, about, their country. Like all of wherever you looked, there had to be something uplifting about China there.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that, from that, they began to rise as a nation. I think that that's a good example for us. I mean, I understand why certain artists would say that we need to be able to depict Black people in whatever way that they are, and that there's validity to that. But it's just like the people who think that we can be walking around sort of half dressed when that's not really the society that we're in. Yeah, for the most part, no one should be bothering anyone,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of whatever it is that they're wearing, I guess, to a certain extent. But we have to read the room, we have to look at where we actually are as a people in our society. We know what's real between us, and that's something that we can talk about. But when we are putting out images of our people, my personal opinion is that we should be trying to put out as many positive, um definitely we should, be the superheroes and all of that stuff, but we should also be putting out positive, realistic images of ourselves for our children to see, and for us ourselves to see.
Um, yeah, I now when we talk about super images like superheroes, super villains, I think those should both be Black. But when I mean, in my books, I always have Black heroes, whether super or just regular hero. The villains can be white or Black, depending on what era I'm writing in and what the story entails, right?
Yeah, but
But as far as realistic heroes, like everyday heroes, like well, to me, it's arguable whether they're heroes. Like if a person writes a story about a cop and makes him a hero, I have a problem with that. But I also have a problem if he writes a doctor and just makes him heroic. One, I feel everyone has flaws, but I don't I don't really look at doctors as heroes. You know, the shit that I've suffered from the medical industry, right, my children and all of that. I don't see that. I don't see them as heroes. Mm-hmm. Maybe some teachers.
Yeah, well.
But I still once again I still feel that every person is flawed. So you're not gonna have just an absolutely positive image of anybody.
I think a person can be flawed but still be positive. You know.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think I'm positive, but I know I'm flawed.
Yeah, you know? Definitely.
So yeah, they can have positive images, but like W.E.B. Du Bois and Paul Robeson, they just wanted just these positive images of black people in writing and in film and whatever. I do not believe that's realistic. They can be a positive person, but I don't believe you're going to get all positive from them all the time.
No, definitely not. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I was gonna say recently, well, I guess it's not that recent, but in the past few years, like if you think about Black Panther, the original Black Panther movie, or the first Coogler Black Panther movie, I'll say, and then even like Coming to America 2, which I know I've mentioned a few times. I don't know if people watched it or enjoyed it or even remember it. But I remember, similar to Black Panther, the villain, so to speak, was, another black man. He was like a general from another area of Africa. And he got into kind of a beef with Prince Hakeem because of, some different things. And I really liked and appreciated the way that they resolved it, even more than Black Panther. Because with Black Panther, you had Killmonger, who said some things that were true, but also did some things that were, horrible and not redeemable, in my opinion. But he definitely said some things that at that time, for sure, never would have made it into the mouth of someone who wasn't a villain, wasn't being portrayed as a villain in the movie. Because, these, even though a lot of us know these things to be true, in order for, I guess, the wider society to be able to digest them, they had to come from the mouth of a villain. But again, with Coming to America 2, I like the way that they resolved it, where it was like, yeah, there was a conflict, but then they were able to actually resolve it without, the classical like bloodshed or warfare or anything like that. So to me, though, that movie was flawed, speaking of flawed, it was kind of idyllic, the way that they resolved the conflict that they had there. So I don't know if anyone ever gets a chance to see it, then you'll know what I mean.
Well, was it realistic? I don't remember how they resolved it, but
I hate giving spoilers. I shouldn't have started this, but I'll tell you. So they first I think they like captured some of his younger children or came to attack some of the younger children. First, they had a great fight scene, which I also refer to a lot, because even though they were children and they were like, very advanced as far as their self-defense went, they still didn't try to go man to man. They use like their environment, they use the things around them to help, defend themselves, which I thought was really great. But what eventually happened is that they came to an agreement and resolved it without anyone actually getting killed or any, like a lot of times with our movies, there's a lot of violence. And the thing the thing that resolves it in the end is a violent act. And at the end of this, it wasn't a violent act. It was actually diplomacy that resolved it. And then at the end, no one was a villain,
Yeah. Now, diplomacy I can rock with, but I believe we're always going to have villains in this world.
Definitely. But like with Coming to America 2, he had a reason that he was the villain. He had a legitimate reason why he was upset.
Well, Killmonger had a reason he was upset too.
That's true.
It was and it was legitimate.
Right. I agree.
Killmonger, the one thing that I don't rock with was that he killed this woman.
He killed two women.
Yeah,
he killed an elder
woman. He killed an elder woman,
and he killed his girlfriend. That was the first thing one of the first things he did before he ended up going to Wakanda.
I thought he let somebody else kill her, but I don't remember.
Or either he directly killed her or he held her in front of. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he was responsible for the deaths of two women. Directly responsible.
Now, I know why Coogler did that as a director myself, because that establishes him as a villain. Right. But when he wants to make him a villain that you empathize with, he can't do it, especially killing an older woman.
Right.
Can't do that.
Yeah. That's why I was saying that when he went forward with that, at first the things that he was saying, you could rock with, but when he did that, then that made him irredeemable in my eyes, even though he did have valid points and reasons why he was upset.
All right. There's a question. How does this help brothers and sisters today, December 6, 2025? Because, well, it helps by, one, you recognize that the images that we've gotten are manipulated.
Yeah, bro.
And that's purposeful. I once told a friend of mine, everything in film is purposeful.
Yeah, bro.
When if you watch a film, the director may have directed a scene 40 times before it sends the message that he wants it to send.
Right. Right. And also the money that they put into it, the time they put into it, everything has to be
right. That is everything is meaningful in films and books. So when you read a book of mine, every scene in that book is meaningful. Otherwise, I would have cut it out. When you see a television show, video, whatever it is, every scene in there means something.
Right. Unless they.
So you can learn from any of those, Aket Kaba,
Absolutely.
by looking at it and analyzing those things. Characters should have a focus. True.
Baba, before you respond to the character part, I wanted to interject something too. Another reason why it's important is because maybe we're in an echo chamber and a lot of us are past the point where maybe some of us aren't watching any television, aren't going to movies. Maybe that's where you're at, but that's likely not where your children are. That's likely not where your family is. And by being able to analyze and being symbol literate and being able to actually look at things for what they are when you're watching these different sources of media, you can talk with your family and talk with your children about what they're really seeing and not just the story that's on its face there. So that's really how we can help not only our brothers and sisters but our children and our family.
Right. And characters should have a focus. True. Yes, that's true. All characters that I've read, they do have a focus. Or like I said, they're a waste of space, and they shouldn't be in a book or film or television show anyway. They will have a focus.
Yeah, well.
Whether that focus is for good or bad or what have you, it's up to the writer, but
Right.
they all will have a focus.
Yeah. And I would add, I saw something recently. I took my son to a movie, and it was a very entertaining movie. It had a lot of action, and I knew that it would, and I figured that he would enjoy it, and that's why we went. But you can always see the understory there, the one that's portrayed as supposed to be the main character and the hero is actually the person that is doing the most harm a lot of times. But
What movie did you see?
Predator, Badlands.
Oh, okay, yeah, I saw Predator.
Yeah, right. And it's a very entertaining movie. Absolutely. But when you actually go in and break down the story and what this main character actually does, it's like, is that really what we should be cheering for? And that's often the case in a lot of popular movies.
Yeah, and that's why also I don't most cop films and most military films and television, I don't watch it. Military films, I don't watch it because they like dealing with special forces and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah, well.
Besides the propaganda of the soldiers always being right and good and moral and all that, that's garbage. And the thing with police officers, when I watch those films, I've never seen a film that shows just an abusive cop to black folks, except by a black man, by when Denzel played in Training Day, he was abusive to everybody. But I've never seen another film where the black people are being abused by a cop.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I find too, and this is something I brought up before. I don't think I've done it since we've been back on the new Black Power media. But I live with my grandparents, or till my granddad passed. I live with my grandparents, and they are constantly watching westerns, and I like westerns, like as far as the movies go. And I think that there's an element of this in the movies for sure, but definitely in those Western shows, those are the precursor to the cop shows. And when you hear the things that they talk about, it is indoctrination. Like almost all of the lawmen and everything that they say is a very colonial, imperialist, like the way that they, they take over the West. They're
And what and
manifest destiny.
what's crazy is the cowboy was mainly black.
Right.
That's why they called him boy instead of cow man or cow hand, because they always call us boys. So the cowboy was a black person. In fact, many of the words that I use in the West come directly from African languages. But the images that you get of the cowboy is the white man. And he's in those films, he's preaching his white colonizing doctrine all the time.
All the time.
Muwada Garasi, I like films like Battle of Algiers. Yeah, I do too. I love Battle of Algiers, but you don't have many films like that.
Yeah, Bob.
So I can say I like Battle of Algiers. I love Battle of Algiers. I love The Spook Who Sat by the Door. You don't get many films like that.
Definitely less and less all the time now.
I try to write something similar with two. Redeemer is one book, and then with Malik, my book Malik, Confessions of a
Black
Identity Extremist, book 1 and 2. So I try to do it with those, but you don't have many authors out here writing that kind of stuff. You really don't. We did an episode years ago about it was me and Ominiki about black reading for warriors.
Right.
And in the fiction section, really, it was just my books and then an author named Milton's books. It's terrible. And I was researching. I'm looking at different books. I'm reading all kinds of stuff, and it was not no books out here for warriors like that.
Yeah, bro.
Predator is a very entertaining film. The culture, though, expressed is a negative warrior culture. Yeah, and what's crazy, warrior cultures. Well, one, there isn't just not an African culture. There isn't a warrior culture like that. There's warriorhood in the culture as part of the culture, but there's also spirituality. There's a wholeness to our cultures, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just a culture full of warriors like that, you probably will get what you got with the father, wanting to kill his son, the one he felt was weaker and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
You probably will get that in just a warrior culture like that. Yes.
Right. With no other context. And what you will also get is what they ended up having in the end, and that's the part that I was talking about. That it teaches you away from your people. It teaches you that going toward this diversity or whatever is the ideal thing to do.
That too. And then in the end, the major villain that they didn't show them fighting, which they'll probably do in part 2, was his mother.
Oh, wow.
He said,
No, I remember. Yeah.
You know, that's setting up movie two, right? His mother is the big villain. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Right.
But anyway, let me see. We watch the movie together and critique at the same time, and we can do it online. Have live, add Zoom, Eventbrite, charge, and we have fun. We are a revolution.
So earlier she commented, "Can we
Right,
do
right.
a whole?" Okay, I just wanted to make sure you saw that
Yeah,
part.
yeah. Now I don't know if I was doing a whole month, but we can do a episode where we watch a movie together and critique it and everything. We just have to pick the movie, and we can do it. We can do it. One episode a month, forever. If
It
we want.
actually seems like we could do something. That's something we could do on the Patreon.
And
Maybe
and for sure,
right. But maybe the first one we could do during the show.
right. We can make money having a Black family event online. All comes that pays. We fit everyone in, no sham. We are the real. We do not invest in BS. Now, if you want something that makes money, just join our Patreon. But us together now, one thing that I'm doing is Warrior Con on the 15th. I mean, 13th.
Right.
13th.
Which is next Saturday.
Right. If you can make it to Atlanta. So next Saturday, we're not going to have a show because next Saturday we're going to be doing WarriorCon. If you can come for that, or you can bend at that if you want to. Come on down.
And what are we gonna be? What are we gonna be learning at Warrior Con, Baba?
Well, you're going to be learning blunt and edge weapons. You're going to be learning firearm safety, which will be taught by a sister named Ogunlewa. And she's worked, her expertise is in that. You're going to learn self-defense for men, women, and children.
Yeah, Bob.
It's going to be just a full day of events. And in fact, I've got the schedule on Instagram. If you go to Balaguno Jtade, the schedule is on my Instagram. I think it's on African Martial Arts Instagram too.
Yeah, Bob. So that's something to look forward to. I know we have people in different places. Ket and Eugene mentioned today.
She said she's in San Francisco.
Eugene, do you live in Long Beach, Eugene? I apologize, I don't remember, but I know he mentioned he's in Long Beach today, and it's beautiful.
So, one, I would say, if you can get here, get here. If not, we are eventually going to, more than likely, put it online. If I can get my student Kunle to show up and film it, then we will put it online eventually.
Yeah, bro.
Come to Cali. Mm-hmm. Bring us to Cali. Bring us together. We love to come to Cali. I have, in fact, I lived in Cali for a year. I was in Monterey. I was at Defense Language Institute. But my sister, I have a sister that lives in Cali. Her husband, my nephews, they one of them lives in California too. They live in Camarillo, which is closer to Los Angeles.
Okay, yeah. Eugene said he's in Long Beach, so that's not too far from LA either, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's too far from LA.
So if we come to LA, Arquette, you got to come down. You got to. Is it up from San Francisco?
Now San Francisco's up.
Oh,
So
okay.
she had
I
to
got to
come
come
down.
down.
Our brothers and sisters have to put Cali on the bucket list. Oh,
I've been to Cali.
yeah.
I've been to. I think Belay hasn't been, but
Yeah, Belay hasn't been to Cali, but me and Ominiki have.
Several times. It's a beautiful place. I preferred the Bay Area to LA when I was.
In fact, I went to San Francisco for a convention. I taught writing, and I taught. I was on a panel about film at a convention up in San Francisco.
I also went to the Bay Area for a convention, Baba. This is kind of a funny story. This was a really long time ago. I went to see David Icke. There was a David Icke convention, yes. In I think Sunnyvale or something like that, if I'm remembering correctly. But that was the reason for my visit at the time.
Hey, that's right, Ominiki. The Bay is where it's at. The Bay Area is where it's at.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful, and the people there don't play.
Right.
They're real serious. Said Fort Ord. You mean Fort Ord? Fort Ord was up. Now Fort Ord was it was close to Monterey. I don't, it wasn't in San Francisco.
You said Long Beach is in LA County. I knew it had to be close. I get my geography lessons of that area from Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, but I know that Snoop was
Now,
from Long Beach, right?
San Diego that's south. That's real south.
Oh, so it is okay. So that's the part that's south.
Yeah, San Diego is the home of the Navy SEALs. Well, they're actually in Coronado.
Oh wow. Is there another place that they train in the States, or is it just there?
The Navy SEALs?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's someplace in Virginia too.
I think someone was telling me a story about that recently, and it was something on the East Coast.
Fort Ord, not Ord. I don't know Fort Ord, Aore.
Oh, a cat said they closed that base down.
Closed down base in San Diego. I guess you're saying is in San Diego. Fort Ord. I don't know or at all. Norfolk, Virginia. That's where the other Navy SEALs are at.
Where they train now. I can't remember what the story was, but someone was telling me something about I know it was the East Coast and where they train. And I'm sure I'll remember after the show is over.
I just know Fort Bragg, Fort Leonard Wood, where I did basic.
Where's that?
Fort Leonard Wood is Missouri.
Oh wow.
Fort Bragg is Fayette, North Carolina,
Okay.
Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Mm-mm.
I never heard of Fort Ord either, Muada. I've heard of Fort Ord, but never Fort Ord. Yes,
Oh,
it's in
you said they
Monterey.
closed it too.
Close it. Yeah, that was now they closed. Yes, Fort Ord closed. They closed that down. I was at Fort Riley. Okay.
Bob, I have to step away for a second.
Okay. They closed down Fort Ord. Yes, they did. Yep, they did. Baba, what's the difference between Delta Force and the Navy SEALs? So, Delta Force is made up of different tier one operators from different branches. So, you may have somebody from the SEALs, somebody from Special Forces, somebody from uh, Air Force Pararescue, somebody from Marine Raiders, Marine Force Recon. They may be in Delta Force, but that's all that I know about Delta Force, because Delta Force is top secret as far as now. All of them have top secret movements, but and top secret compartment movements. But the existence of Delta Force is like known, but what it does is not known. The Navy SEALs, um, one SEAL, sea, air, land. Um, they have a mission similar to Special Forces mission as far as counterinsurgency, counterterrorism, right? Um, but Special Forces mission is to, well, so-called de oppresso liber, to free the oppressed. So it is a teaching uh, modality that Special Forces excels in. You have your counterinsurgency, you have your counterterrorism, but you're teaching the indigenous people, one indigenous group, to fight another indigenous group, really. Um, Navy SEALs, they don't have that. They just have the counterinsurgency, counterterrorism. And they work on the sea more than anybody else. Navy also has SWIC, which is the riverine top tier operators. Okay. Most people don't know about SWIC. Would you consider a book like Claude Brown's Man-Child in the Promised Land as realistic or disgusting or negative? I'm not familiar with this book. I'm going to have to look that up. Fort Ord still have some type of defense linguistic training going on where the former base was. Now, DLI, Defense Language Institute, which is not that far from Port Ord, they have defense linguistic training. They have linguistics. If you have time, how about the Blue Berets? Blue Berets?
Oh, okay.
I guess she means the Blue Berets. I don't know who that would be. The Blue Berets.
No, I don't know.
Because I thought, I believe that Air Force Pararescue, they wear red berets, I believe, but I'm not sure. Red beret just means you're airborne. So when you graduate from airborne school, you have a red beret. I don't know about the blue berets. They weren't in the army when I was in the army. But so when I was in the army, the colors of the berets, black beret was Rangers. Now I think everybody wears a black beret, but black berets was just Rangers. Red beret, airborne. Green beret, special forces. I don't know about blue beret. That's the only blue berets I know. The UN. Oh, the UN forces. Okay. Now they didn't exist when I was in the army, but I guess they. I mean, shortly after, I believe they. Once again, a wonderful, enlightening show. Much respect, Word Class, the most revolutionary show on YouTube. Oh, thank you, Eugene. Um, I was actually going to go back to the army when I first moved here. I was going to go back to the army. I had taken the ASVAB, got a perfect on the ASVAB, scored higher than everybody else in this region, and I knew I was going to score well in the 90 something, but I didn't know I was going to get 100. Because before I had taken, I got 97, 98. But so I had that. The army was all excited, you know. I was going to go back to special forces. The recruiter, when he's driving me to the MEP station in Georgia, in the Atlanta area, he stops and he says, "Man, I can't do this. You're too intelligent to give your life to the army again. Now you can report me, and they'll court-martial me, but I don't think you're going to do that. So I'm going to take you home." I said, "What? Man, drop me off at MEPS." He said, "I'm taking you home. You got too great of a mind to give to these motherfuckers again." I said, "What?" And then what he said started sinking in.
Right.
I was like, damn. And he dropped me off, and that was it. No more army for me.
That was an everyday hero.
Yes, now that's a hero.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a hero. I mean, I could write about him, just change his name, but
I wonder how many other times he did something like that.
yeah, that's the thing. So I don't know if that was a pattern. Well, probably not in Georgia, because in Georgia, it probably wasn't too many people scoring high on that bad. I hate to say that, but it's true.
That superiority complex rearing its ugly head, that up north. Yeah.
But he, if he made not a habit of it, but if he did that 2-3 times, and I write about that, and they know who I am, they'll figure out. They could possibly figure out who he is.
That's true.
And so I'm not going to do that. But you know, I just,
You think
brother,
transition by now?
If you're watching our show, I thank you.
Yeah,
I really do.
Thank you too.
Baba
could have taken a different path after that.
I would have. I would have gone back to the SF. I would have. Ooh, boy, and I probably would have gone to be a medic. This time around, and they would have. Oh boy,
you'd have been one deadly medic.
Yeah, I mean, well. All the medics in the special forces. So to become a medic, when you're going through the Q course, which is the course that everybody who's in special forces goes through. But at a certain point, you separate and you go to what your job's going to be. The medic, to graduate to be a medic. Now, Q course is a year long. To graduate, they shoot a goat, and you got to save the goat's life. That's what their medics do. Their medics can do battlefield surgery. And they have to save the ghost's life. If they do not save the ghost's life, they have to start Q course over again or go back to the original place where they applied at.
Wow.
That's why I didn't do it the first time, but I would have done it the second time. If I'd have gone in, I'd have done it the second time, So those same heroes, the United States veterans, say they should get an unhonorable discharge and said it is your fault. Leave all our black veterans alone. I don't know if they should leave all our black veterans alone, but most of them. But when I was in the Army, I was sitting, and I protested this, but your protest only works so much when you're in basic training. In basic training, when we were at mess hall, right? All the black there, we all sat at a table together. The sergeants, now the black sergeant didn't do it. They sent over this Cuban sergeant, and she wasn't a black Cuban. She was, blackish Cuban. She came over. She said, "It's too dark at this table. It's too dark at this table." I said, "What?" She said, "Yeah, it's too dark at this table." She gave my last name. Swan, you go over to this table, and we're gonna move this white dude over to this table, and so you go to that table, and we're going to move this white dude to this table. And I protested that. I said, that is unfair. I said, it's tables full of white men.
Right. Why?
You're not saying
What we want to say.
It's too light at this table. You're not saying that. Yeah, we move you to the table with white guys to blacken it. No, you did that because you were whitening our table.
Right.
So, and I saw them do that towards, like I had already, I think we were 2 days from graduating from basic, and we saw another platoon in there, and they did the same thing, and their sergeant was telling them, it's too dark at this table.
Wow.
I said, man, that's just crazy. The power at the black table permeated the entire room. Yes, it did.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they were afraid of.
That's what I was going to say. But, I mean, that's not our fault.
Right. We all sat together in the Navy. All the brothers sat together. Not in the Army. They wasn't going to allow us to sit together. Especially now, also, I don't know if they do this in the Navy, but in the Army, they had us separated, like first, second, and third platoon, based on what our MOS was. So my MOS was in the intelligence field. Okay. Everybody in my platoon was in the intelligence field. Everybody in third platoon was in intelligence or medic. First platoon, they were all mechanics. What else? Shit, I think that was it. They were all black. My platoon was probably 50% black, 50% white. And up top, that was like 40% black, 60% white. Now, then when I put in my application for special forces, well, first, airborne school. Airborne school, all the black hats. It's not like this no more. But all the black hats were black. Black hats are the ones who teach you in airborne school. All of the black hats were black. I was just told that that's not the case no more.
Mm.
In fact, it's only like 30% of that are black now. Special forces, from the time my father was to me, it was about 60 or 70% black. Now it's flipped. It's 70% white.
They figure out a way.
Because they start realizing we teaching these black folks how to kill, survive, and we can't do that. So now we're going to give it to our people.
Yeah, well.
Yes, it's the same in the Navy. We were gunners mates. Okay. So they put the same MOS together. Okay. At Fort Jackson, we didn't have a lot of freedom of where to sit. In fact, we didn't have much time to eat. Wow. Now my sister, she went to she was in the Army. The recruiter really used her. So she had graduated from college. She should have gone to officer school, but the recruiter said, "Go, you just go be enlisted, and you'll learn more." Now he that's true, but when it comes to especially women, make your money. So when she found that out, she had talked to a guy in the Air Force. She was in the Army first. She went through basic at Fort Jackson. She was in the Army. Then she talked to a guy in the Air Force, and he said he should have automatically put you in
Officer school.
officer school. And so she transferred over to the Air Force and went to officer school. I know this is off topic, but what's the best way to condition your hands for martial arts? Okay. And then we're going to close after this, but it's two tiers. Okay. First, you start, well, really it's three tiers. First, you start hitting sand. Like you got to get this, you got to get bags. Either a bag that got 2 levels or just 2 different bags. One bag, compacted sand. Boom. Right. The other bag, beans, loose beans. Okay. After you've done that, and then you're hitting your palm on it too. But do not hit your fingertips on it. Just your palms. Don't hit your fingertips, you damage your eyes. Then after that, now when you're not taking a shower, but when you're in the bath, or you can just get in the bath and just to do this. You just let your hands drop in the water. Let your hands drop. Don't force them down. Let them drop in the water. Okay. Let them drop in the water. Let them drop in the water. After a while, you'll start seeing when you hit, first it's going to just be a splash. But after a while, when you hit, you'll start seeing energy coil from your palms. That's when you got power in your palms. Okay. That's when you got real internal power and the external power from hitting the bag in your palms. The most strength you're going to get in your fist is hitting the beans. I added steel ball bearings to my punching, and my father said that's stupid, and he had to work on my hands because my hands were turning green inside. They were absorbing the iron, and my father had to use this herbal medicine. He had to use this herbal medicine on my hands to loosen the calcification that was happening. So don't use the steel ball bearings. Just use the sand and the beans. Thank you. Great show today.
No.
Thank you all. Thank you all. All right, y'all. So thank you. Be safe in your homes. Be safe out in the world. Carry your tools. Whatever those tools are, carry your tools. Stay black, whatever it is that you may be. Love you all. Peace.
Peace.